lives. But yet they will still spare more time to make sure that they have learned the Quran. And when they make mistakes, it's not because they are feeling bored or they want to make mistakes. They are trying their absolute best. They are trying their absolute best to try and recite the noble Quran for you and me to benefit from. They don't need to do that. They're not, tomorrow night when completion is made, they're not going to get a salary from here or from any masjid to say, well, you read Taraweeh for us, here's some money for you. However, what I do tell the brothers in the congregation is that your huffaz that are reading Taraweeh in your locality, show them appreciation. Buy them a hadiyah, buy them some sort of gift, something that you can make use of also. Now you know the Hafiz is diabetic, you buy him a big chocolate hamper, he's not going to come in handy unless he's going to share it with you. Yeah, it's going to come in handy for you. Rather, get something that he can benefit from. And one tip that I've learnt is that when you give a gift, try and give a gift, although, and sometimes you find for the same value that you want to spend. Some people think, no, it's got to be a big, fancy, bright present, shining lights, and, it's got to have all the named brands and everything in there. The reality is, if you give someone something that they are going to make use of, something that they are going to benefit from. For example, a person has a liking for pens, maybe. Now you buy him a nice pen for the same amount of money that you could have bought him something else. Now the person is going to make use of it. The person uses it for whatever it is that they do. And every time they use it, they're going to think of you. And every time they think of you, maybe at least half the times, maybe they'll give you some dua also. Although they won't maybe not lift up their hands, but from their heart they will give you some dua. Some sort of well-wishing for you. Now you buy them something, that maybe a bouquet of flowers. Now obviously you're not necessarily going to give the huffaz a bouquet of flowers. I'm saying when giving anyone a gift, you give a bouquet of flowers is good. But better than the bouquet of flowers is buying them a pot plant. Because that plant, they will look after it, they'll nurture it, it will grow, it will give flowers year in, year out, it will come and go. So it's an everlasting or long-lasting present. So these are things we should keep in mind. Not to say that if you give them a bouquet now, then you've done something wrong or something bad. No, there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes it's not always possible to give something to someone because maybe, and we have to be careful in choosing what we give. Eid is coming, and we want to give people gifts. Make sure you're giving the right people. Think about what you're giving to the people. Like I said, the example of the diabetic, and you buy him a nice fancy, you spend £50 on a hamper which is beautifully decorated, but it's all got chocolates inside. He's not going to eat the wrapping and the packaging, or she's not going to eat the wrapping or packaging. The chocolate is there, they're going to look at it and bichara, they're going to cry. They're going to be even more upset with you. I'm diabetic, or you brought me chocolates. So be mindful of when we're giving gifts, that they are suitable and beneficial for the person who is going to receive them. And when we receive a gift, we should show the same love and replace by giving them a gift. Return that favor. Return that by thanking them and by giving them a gift. Nabi Kareem sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam said, Tahadu tahabu. Exchange gifts with one another, you will love one another. Now if you are always on the receiving end, always getting gifts, but you never like to give gifts to other people, then people will think, this person, what is the story here? Then that mutual connection won't be created. And remember, a gift is what more important is what the thought that counts. The thought that counts, and that you think of the person and that you remember to give them some sort of gift, insha'Allah al-Aziz. Yes, indeed, one brother is saying, value the huffaz, for they are the noor of our communities. Without them, our masajid will be empty in the month of Ramadhan. I agree and I disagree with that statement. Because some people say, good, we've got no hafiz, let's just do alam tara down. And then we'll be having yalamun talamun tarawi, and everyone likes quick. Everything must be quick. We want instant. Why the hafiz sahib is taking long? Never rush the huffaz to read quick. Unless we have the full understanding of this. So yes, indeed, show appreciation to the huffaz. If you want, put something in an envelope and give it to them. Buy them a little present, a little hadiyah, and give it to them. Think about that all the time that they stood here on the musalla and recited the Quran beautifully, melodiously, and subhanallah, we benefited from that. So yes, the masajid would definitely, they might be full, but they'll be void of barakah. Yeah, the enjoyment, the recitation of the Quran here. We've even contemplated sometimes that, you know what, maybe this year we will read just the first 15 juz of the Quran, only half Quran this year, half a para a night. Why? So the Quran is read so that we have enough time to read comfortably, but alhamdulillah, we are managing. We don't have to go home and eat a whole deg of biryani. Yeah, we just have to go home and have some light sehri, and then we can fast inshallah the next day. So we don't have that much, but some places in the world, where is it, Iceland, right? 23-hour fast. Can you imagine that, 23-hour fast? In 1 hour, Maghrib, Isha, Iftari, Sehri, yeah, and everything in between that also. Subhanallah, how difficult it must be. And imagine, you had a long day, and you fell off to sleep a little while before Maghrib, and you woke up 2 hours later. Then you got a very, 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 very long fast. Subhanallah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests us with what we can do. Inshallah, may Allah ta'ala make it easy for us. May Allah ta'ala accept all of our fasting. Inshallah, ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave those short verses so that the disbelievers of Makkah, they would listen. And they heard the verses, and subhanallah, how their hearts changed. Today, how much Quran we read, how much we listen to. Today we listen on our phone, on our earphones, on our iPods, on our MP3 players, in our cars, we listen in our houses, CDs, whatever it may be. We read the Quran, we listen to the Quran. How much is it affecting us? Are we noticing some sort of love for Quran coming in our heart when we listen to it? Or are we saying, you know what, I'm tired now. I've listened to 15 minutes of Quran. This Qari that is reciting Quran is taking too long. I remember as a child growing up in London, after Taraweeh, my father used to take me to Regent's Park Masjid because I used to love listening to Quran. Especially those Qur'an with the Arabic tune, subhanallah. Loved it. And Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, "Iqra'ul Quran biluhunil Arab." Recite the noble Quran in the tune of the Arabs. When we're reading Quran, even ourselves, don't just read A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, Ar-Rahmanir Rahim, Maliki Yawmiddin. Read with a tune. Read with a tune. And today, subhanallah, we're so fortunate. Yeah, back in the days, I remember this one uncle, he passed away now in London. He used to carry this massive sound system to record. He used to also love qira'ah. We used to go sometimes together to Regent's Park Masjid because he used to have different qur'an, mashallah, reciting there. And he would take his big hi-fi sort of thing. Today even the hi-fis are smaller. Today you probably get TVs that are smaller than that also. Massive thing he used to carry just to record the Quran. And he would have a whole collection. Today you have tiny little gadget. Someone doesn't even know, you fit inside your pen and you can record what is going on. Subhanallah. So we should try and inculcate into our lives the love of Quran. If we had to, for example, put on the TV and start watching football, and you know nothing about football, but you start watching and you're watching and you're watching, and you're watching different teams and different players and the colors, and you are monitoring all of this and they're processing this as you go along. You may not enjoy football, but as time goes along, you are watching. Now what happens, eventually a time will come, you will understand how football is played, what are the rules, when is it called an offside, when there is a free kick, what's the difference between a free kick and a penalty, and so on and so on. Similarly with the Quran, Allahu Akbar, the Quran is a miracle of Allah Ta'ala. And if we have to listen to the Quran over and over, although we may sometimes feel a bit of, not so much of excitement, we listen to it, you'll see how Allah Ta'ala will put the love of Quran in our hearts. Sometimes when you have difficulties or hardships, maybe sit in a room, even if you put the lights off and just put on some Quran, sit back and listen. Ponder over the Quran being recited. We may not understand what is being recited, but let's think about what is being recited. Try to understand, insha'Allah al-Aziz. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes mention of the people of Jahannam. لَا يَذُوقُونَ فِيهَا بَرْدًا وَلَا شَرَابًا. Allah ta'ala says in Jahannam, So hot, intense heat. Intense heat in Jahannam. The people there, when they will drink, they will be given something that is boiling to drink. They will be given blood and pus to drink. Allah Ta'ala save us from this. But there will be nothing bardan wala sharaba. There's going to be no aircon there. They're not going to get a cool breeze that will come in and will get a bit of a breather. It's just difficulty upon difficulty in Jahannam. Wala sharaba, and nothing they can... Setting up for tomorrow. Setting up for tomorrow. They will... Actually tonight. There will be no opportunity for them to drink anything which is actually going to benefit them. You know, when you are very thirsty like we are today, maybe not today as much as the past few days, you are thirsty the whole day, and you have just one glass of water, and you can, as Irfan Bhai said the other day also, you can feel it going down into your veins. And what is the dua that we read once we've done that? ذَهَبَ الظَّمَأُ وَابْتَلَّتِ الْعُرُوقُ. The veins have been moistened now, you've actually felt it. In Jahannam there's nothing like that. In Jahannam there's going to be no calming of the veins. If anything, it will cause even more harm and taklif. Then we find that one hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, al-imanu bayna al-khawfi wal-raja. Iman, what is iman? It is something that is between khawf, fear of Allah Ta'ala, wal-raja, and hope in Allah Ta'ala. Khawf and raja. We can't have one of the two only and be successful. Why? We can't only have fear of Allah Ta'ala. If we're always going to be fearful of Allah Ta'ala, then you are reading salah because you're scared of Allah Ta'ala. And if we are hopeful, we have raja, we have hope in Allah Ta'ala only, then we think, right, okay, let me just carry on committing sin upon sin. Allah will forgive me. Allah will forgive me. Allah will forgive me. Allah will forgive me. Do this sin, do that sin. And just don't worry about it. Allah is going to forgive me. Well, the reality is we got to have a balance of both. We have this fear that I don't want to displease my Allah Ta'ala. And if we have displeased Allah Ta'ala, we ask Allah for forgiveness, and then there is that hope that Allah will grant that forgiveness, inshaAllah. Sorry brothers, that is for outside use. In case we need to use it for Eid Salah outside. It's a thick plastic for that. There's for the Dastarkhan, there's that white paper we've got. There's a white paper roll about the same height as that. Moving on from there, لا يسمعون فيها لغوا ولا كذابا. Regarding Jannah, what is Jannah going to be like? Here you hear sometimes people, just normal talk, they're using vulgarities and obscenities. And you say, in Jannah there's going to be nothing like that. There's going to be no vulgarities, there's going to be no lies. And we are advised by the ulama that if we want to be in Jahannam, then we have to do the kind of actions that the people of Jahannam would have done. And if we want to be in Jannah, then we have to do the kind of things the people of Jannah are going to enjoy. So the people of Jannah are going to enjoy the freedom that they won't have to hear any lies from anyone. They will not be deceived by anyone. They will not hear any vulgarities in there. They will not hear any obscenities in there. Some people in there, every second word is one swear word coming out after the other. You know what I'm talking about. Some people, the bus is like second nature. May Allah Ta'ala save us from that. May Allah Ta'ala save us. What makes a difference is also the company that we keep. May Allah Ta'ala grant us all good company. فَإِذَا جَاءَتِ الطَّامَّةُ الْكُبْرَى. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says, when this great calamity comes, what is going to be this great calamity, a catastrophe that's going to happen? The last day. The last day, you, me, or whoever is around at the time of Qiyamah is going to be present there. And there is going to be the blowing of the trumpet that is going to completely destroy every single thing upon the face of this earth. Absolutely nothing will survive. They say a cockroach can survive a nuclear blast, even a cockroach won't survive that. Even a cockroach will not be able to survive. Nothing at all will be able to survive that sound. It will only be Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Even Malikul Maut will die. All the malaika will be dead. Nothing at all. There will be no single living being. There will not even be a tiny little blade of grass that is living somewhere. That will